doesn't like something sweet after a big meal, huh? But often we forego dessert because of guilt. Well, what if you could have your cake and eat it too? Hy-Vee dietitian Melissa Yeager is here to help us satisfy our sweet tooth in a way that'll increase energy, allegedly, better sleep, and control your blood sugar. No, this is really important, and I'm happy we're talking about this because that's where the bad calories are, right? It's like sweets after a big meal.
And a lot of people have sweet cravings, right? But there are some tips and things that you can do throughout the day to help prevent those cravings in the evening so that maybe you can enjoy a smaller portion or something after a balanced meal. So starting your day out with breakfast, I know we talk about it all the time, but having a breakfast that's rich in both protein and fiber is really key. So finding a more nutrient dense, whether it's your combination of cereal and milk, or maybe it's incorporating just more fruits and vegetables throughout the day and at those meal times, because that fiber is going to be more slowly digested throughout your system, right? So it's not going to cause those rapid spikes in blood sugar. So if you take and have your sweet right after your meal or with your meal, then you're not going to cause those rapid spikes in blood sugar like you would if you just ate it quick right before bed or when you get that maybe craving later in the evening. So hopefully by balancing out your intake of protein and fiber throughout the day, you won't have those cravings.
It's a great thing. And so if you don't, if you just absorb that sugar right away, it makes you want sugar more, right?
Yeah, so what you do is if you spike your blood sugar and then it drops really rapidly because there's nothing slowing it down, that's when you start to maybe feel a little hangry. Maybe you lose some focus. Maybe you're looking to satisfy that sweet tooth, so you start overindulging or you grab more than one thing instead of just having a small portion of one item. So I came up with a recipe today that's going to have a little bit of naturally occurring fiber in it, plus it's highlighting Colorado peaches, which are a favorite of mine this time of year.
Let's do it. All right, so how do we make this delicious dish?
So to get started, you are going to start by incorporating your dry and wet ingredients. So I always mix up my dry ingredients first. So the recipe will be on KARE 11, but what you do is you're going to take a balance of all-purpose and whole wheat flour, combine it with some baking soda. This is going to be for our yummy crumble topping, but it has some of the same ingredients.
Okay,
yep.
good deal.
So you're going to combine those different types of flour, and again, by using a little bit of whole wheat flour, it can help to add some of that fiber in there. And then you're going to combine in your oats, which can actually contain protein and fiber as well too. So a great dry ingredient base, and then you can spice it to your taste preference. So I added a little bit of cinnamon and a little bit of nutmeg today, but you could certainly add a few other warm spices to go with it. And then your wet ingredients, you're going to combine your butter, but we've actually reduced the amount of butter in the recipe by incorporating applesauce to help replace some of the fat. So again, we've controlled and added some protein and fiber, we've replaced some of the fat, and then once you stir all of you're going to incorporate some peaches in there. But then I always like to create a really beautiful layer of peaches on the top. So if you want to go ahead and start placing the sliced peaches across the top.
This is the base you just talked about. There's peaches incorporated, your applesauce, your oats, etc.
Yep.
Now we're going to do a layer of peaches.
Now you're going to decorate.
And you're going to work on the top.
I'm going to work on the crumble topping. So for that, we're going to do equal parts of flour and oats again, because we're trying to add in those more nutrient-dense ingredients. And then we're still going to add in some I use dark brown sugar today for that topping, and then a little bit of cinnamon again.
Cinnamon?
You betcha. And we'll stir all of those together. And then we will add in a little bit of butter to incorporate everything so that it has that nice crumble and golden brown texture on the top. Have you guys tried your bars yet?
Yeah. We try our bars. Look at Belle's. It's done. There's nothing here.
So good. Well, it's just a tiny little bite.
I am so bad at this. I didn't know that this was like a talent or a skill, but I am terrible at it.
You can arrange as beautifully or as messy as you would like.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm going in there. Bang.
I love it.
Bang.
I love
Look
it.
at this. Hey.
They're so good.
This is the left brain, and this is the right brain.
I like it. I like seeing
guess.
it.
Yep. Okay, so what I understand you is telling me is, look, have your fiber and have it early in the morning. This way you have a base.
Yep.
And after your big meal at night or your little meal at night, it's okay to have sweets, but you got to have a base there so your body doesn't freak out when you eat all that sugar.
Exactly. We know if we tell ourselves that we can't have sweets, it's exactly what we tend to start craving, right? So when I'm working with clients who are maybe trying to work on managing their weight, they always say, you know what, I really miss this. And it's all about finding a way to incorporate it without feeling that guilt by enjoying the things that you like, right? So maybe it's trying a recipe with some different ingredient substitutions. Maybe it's practicing portion control, or maybe it's just getting more protein and fiber throughout the day to really help you navigate some of those cravings.
All right, well, you want to put this on top of here while I close her out?
It's going to get a little messy here, but Once you've got it all mixed up and together, you can sprinkle it across the top, and then you're just gonna bake this in an oven at 350 degrees for about 30 to 40 minutes. Again, you might need to rotate it partway through, check and make sure that the crumble isn't burning or anything like that. But comes out and you've got delicious bars that you can share with your family. If you'd prefer to freeze them and then eat them over
idea.
time, you could do that as well too.
I just always, your coworkers.
Exactly,
I
bring
always
it
feel
into
better
work.
when you come here. It just makes me feel better about our food. Thank you so much. We learned
Thank
something
you.
too. Appreciate it, Melissa. Hey, text the word recipes to 763-797-7215. You'll get a link to the recipes page where you can find this awesome recipe. Coming up in our next